Oh, the wife's gonna kill me. Just took these out. I picked up this boat today from a friend. More of a, well, yeah, a friend, an acquaintance. It's a 1965 Taylor boat, and it was free. Neglected little girl, 13 foot, tiny little thing. But yeah, just got it, ripped the seats out of it because their framing and stuff is rotten. It was full of water. Been a lawn ornament. I don't know much about this at all, other than what you see. So yeah, I'm washing her up, and we're gonna fix it up one step at a time. All right, progress report. Yeah, look at this mess. So this thing, starter solenoid, yeah, it's been swimming for a little while, doesn't work. So those are your generic like Ford fender mount starter solenoid, 50 bucks, or riding lawnmower solenoid for 14 bucks. They do the same thing. So I reconnected all the wires that the previous owner had chopped, hoping that they are connected to the right thing, and so far so good. So I just matched up the colors and reconnected them, and then put in this solenoid, which I picked up at AutoZone. And now when I turn the key, this I believe it's an 18 horse. I'm guessing because of that, but next trick, this thing. So you could go buy one of these, but this right here, this is a power robbing SOB. You know it's not power robbing. I'll show you. This. So if you go to Bi-Mart or Bass Pro Shops or Cabela's or whatever, and you buy the boat fuel line, comes with the primer bulb and everything, you're a fool. You should never buy that. Because they have this lining on the inside of them that rots away and contaminates your fuel system. So I got to get this hose through that hole and without it kinking, which is, I mean, if you look at this, I cut it because I couldn't get it out, but yeah, so I might make that hole a little bigger, but yeah, just cut this right around here, put in one of these. These are 20 bucks. So $20, and then 6 feet of 3/8 carbureted fuel hose over AutoZone is like, I mean, altogether I think I've got $30 here. And one of those hoses that you get from Bi-Mart that's complete is like $10 more than that. And they go to hell. I mean, you let them sit out in the sun and they rot away. So this is the best option, really. So I'm gonna get this hooked up, and then I'm gonna try to get a bucket on this thing and get it fired up. Okay, progress report. It does run, but it also gets very hot. So I shut it off before it got too hot, and I pulled the lower unit off, which is not as complicated as you may think. It's just a couple of bolts that go one through here and 4 here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So 5 bolts. And then the water pump sits inside of this housing, which rides like that, and the shaft runs through here and up inside the motor, and the impeller is not missing. It is just perma-curved. So this thing rides against this wall in here. Rides against this wall and pumps water. But when this gets old and perma-curved, it doesn't have any bite against that wall. So what I did was I took this off and I flipped it over, and now I'm going to force the impeller blades the other direction like that, because these are still malleable. I'll curve them the other direction, and then I'll have tons of bite and pump water like a mother. And inside of here is where the shaft goes, and there's no seal or anything, and oil gets up inside of everywhere. And in order to keep that from happening, this needs a seal, where this wear plate, see how the water pump's been dragging across that? This is the wear plate, and it goes like that. So this needs to seal here. So I'm going to clean up all this previous Gookumpucky, and I'm just going to put my own Gookumpucky on there, put it all back together. Okay, progress report. Got the lower unit put back together, and it works awesome. I took the water pump impeller and I flipped it over and made it curve the other direction, so now it's biting really good, and we got water. So that turned out fantastic. Got all the wiring buttoned up. Fuel hose. I don't have an extra can laying around, so I've just been pumping out of that. A little bit of standing water back here. I put a little lawnmower battery on it, you know, weight savings. And yeah, so I'm going to build some different seat boxes here, I think, or build onto these and maybe do a hatch here and a swivel fixed base there. That's later. This thing is rotten. So, and it's really awkward. Not only is it stiff, but the way that the cables are, that's reverse, neutral, and forward. I'm perfectly fine with that, but this is to shut the engine off, idle, and rev. Granted, you got to be forward to rev, but do you really want to pull backwards to rev? I hate that. And it's crusty. You got to get everything just right in order for it to work. Here's the option. That's an Evinrude 18, and this is an old Johnson twin stick. Technically that's an Evinrude Johnson twin stick, but that's, what a pile of junk. This is all metal, smooth operation. So it would be this long slot for forward reverse, and this short slot for idle and forward, or idle and rev. So reverse would be backwards, neutral, and then all the way forward would be hard to do one-handed. So that would be forward at idle, and that's race mode. But this has like these, like, I don't know, detents. You can feel it at least. You can't feel anything with those. So yeah, I think that because of the smaller slot, that would be throttle, and the long slot would be shifter. And the way that the knobs are configured, I would prefer it that way. And the ends are these little cables, which is fine. the other parts of this I've got in the shed somewhere, but I don't need them because I've got these. So basically, you take this out. So he says, there we go. And these two screws crimp against that cable. And if you loosen them up, you can slide this clear off just like that is. So yeah, it's awful janky the way this thing is, but it runs great. I mean, it runs really good. It's been sitting here for a couple hours. I've ate dinner and everything, and yeah, it's pretty fantastic. That's what's up. I mean, granted, I could crank it with the key too, but yeah, this thing sat for who knows how long. I haven't even touched the carburetor. Pretty thrilled. Yeah, got it all put back together. I'm thinking about taking the buffer to this and seeing if I can get some of this oxidation to go away. But then I've got the issue with the trailer too. This is my little flatbed that I use for hauling anything and everything. Went and picked it up with it, and it's not really a boat trailer. I mean, it was a boat trailer at one point in its life, but kind of thinking it needs to go back to being a boat trailer, which means some custom bunks. I'd hate to ditch the deck. I'm thinking I'd just make some bunks and maybe some side rails and just attach it to it, so that if all else fails, you can always dump the boat in the yard and use it as a flatbed again. So this is the new project, Sally, or maybe if you guys come up with a better name, I can call it that. Might do some custom pinstripe down the side that says, I don't know, Captain Willie's Turd Maker. I have no idea. I'm not discouraged yet. It's just kind of, it's I don't know what to make out of it. It's cool, but it's just kind of weird. Windshield is surprisingly, yeah, it's all busted here and here and there. You can see through it though. And this boat's a 1965. That's amazing. A friend of mine has a boat that also has a plexiglass windshield, and you cannot see through it. So that's very cool. So yeah, boat runs good. Got the gas tank to come up with and seats to come up with, and then I got to do the registration stuff. And then I'm gonna do something with the trailer, and then I'll use it. Probably take it out and do a little cruising. And might sell it, might keep it. I don't know. Everything's got its price though. You know how that goes. Comment down below on a name for this thing. Talk to you guys soon.